So, Troy, let's look at the ACE framework with more specificity. So, acknowledge, connect, and explore. Can you talk a little bit about why acknowledgement is so important?
Yeah. So, just as a starting definition, acknowledgement is the act of recognizing someone's accomplishments as well as their reality and needs. So, people have these multiple acknowledgement needs to be seen and celebrated. So, if someone puts in effort, and experiences a difficulty, or accomplishes something and no one acknowledges them, they often feel ignored. And feeling ignored is this thing that psychologists talk about is the most overlooked bad experience people have. Because when you feel ignored, it almost feels like being hated. It's not the same thing, but research shows it's quite close because it looks like people just do not care or do not understand for your reality, welfare, or efforts. And so, one thing we really like to say about acknowledgement as research psychologists is that lots of people think acknowledgement is this bonus, this fun, this special thing, but really it's fundamental and necessary for humans' well-being and the function of good teams.
So, in some of our other work, we have tools to help sort of really make sure you're not ignoring your people. A technique called listen for what they care about, or 60-second listening, is part of one of the hives, the highly interactive virtual experiences that we put together and have delivered for companies around the world. If you want to know more about that, feel free to reach out to us at oyf.com.
And then in the toolkit, we have some things that you can immediately start using. We have the compliment game, which is the easiest thing in the world. You just have people write compliments in the chat window. And if you see that one of the people in your team is not getting enough compliments, you just direct it a little bit there. We have more complicated and fun interactive ways to do it. We have a version called Award Show where you hold up things and give awards. And then we have Shout Out Deck, which is a fun way to use slides and sometimes even memes and slides just to recognize everybody in a fun way.
I think, this need to feel acknowledged and seen is just so fundamental. From the improv perspective, if you don't treat your fellow players, you don't see them, it drives people just totally nuts, right? And they can handle it for a little while, but if it keeps happening, they're out. They're just disengaged, and they're not going to be effective as part of the team. And it hurts, actually, is one way to say it.
Yeah. And I think that what lots of people think about with acknowledgement is it needs to be this over celebratory thing. And some people really desire that and really enjoy that aesthetic. But every single person needs to be acknowledged in the basic way. We need to acknowledge that you did a good job. We need to acknowledge that you put in effort. We need to acknowledge the fact that when you were doing this thing and during this year, you faced difficulties. Those are things that pretty much everyone needs to feel. And whether you need or you think your team would benefit from doing one of our fun, really out there activities, decide that. But you should do at least one of our activities. Maybe it's a simple one like compliment game that does meet that need because everybody needs to be acknowledged. And now I've talked way too long on something.